My name is Kurt Vickman, and I'm the founder of Good Grocer, and we're situated right here. You're looking at our new store on Nicollet. And I've been flooded with emails and text messages over the last couple of days, people asking, hey, what's the update? What's going on in the area? Is the building okay? Is the store okay? And I wanted to provide you a little update. And I think you don't need to look around. You can just look out these doors and see the fact that there are most of the buildings, grocery stores, convenience stores, boarded up. And I drove in on Lake Street today and drove by an essay that was basically burned to the ground. And so you can come down to this area and look at the devastation that existed on the heels of this horrific murder of George Floyd. And the rioting and the looting that preceded that reality caused deep destruction to the infrastructure in this area. In fact, the Star Tribune came out with an article yesterday about how food deserts are being created in pockets of the city like this based on all of the destruction. They're not open. Buses aren't running. People can't get food. And so there is a crisis that is emerging around food security and how people are going to access food. And you can walk out of this store that's not open yet and see people doing amazing work. I've seen people cleaning the streets and food distribution happening. And there are short-term solutions that are emerging and people getting creative all over this area of Nicollet. And that is amazing work. But we feel like there also needs to be a long-term solution to this crisis, that this isn't going away anytime soon, that COVID-19 and the riots of Minneapolis have created a sense of fragileness in the infrastructure of this city and this area that we need to step into. We need to do something about it. So as you know, our old store was located on Lake Street, and that store was forced to close after 2 years because of this 35W expansion project. And so that sent us off on a search to locate a new property. We found this property at 2640 Nicollet. We feel like it's perfect location for us. And part of the reason I wanted to do this video is to kind of give you a glimpse of what we've been working on the last 2 years tirelessly to kind of get this store reopened. And so this is a glimpse of where we're at in the build out, right? And you can kind of see our old refrigeration that's been reset, and the checkout counters that are built out but not drywalled, and a new fresh foods area that we're excited to show you, and an expanded produce area, and an expanded meat section. And we've been buying refrigeration at auctions and trying to compile this store in a way that is gonna make us proud and serve the community. And so we were hoping to open 4 months from now, right? But in the midst of COVID-19 and the destruction of so many grocery stores in this area and this emerging food crisis, we feel like it needs to not be months, but weeks now. And so our plan is, and our hope is, that we could accelerate that opening to weeks away from now instead of months. So as I've gotten these emails and text messages over the past few days, all of them end in the same way, and it ends with a simple question: what can I do? And as I've thought about it, I just want to try and give you some practical ways that you can help this emerging food crisis in this area. The first is you can donate financially to accelerate the opening of Good Grocer. In other words, if we're going to open in weeks and not months, we need to raise about $200,000 to close the gap to make that happen. And I called a donor who's been really supportive. He gave $50,000 and said anyone that gives money over the course of the next week, he'll match it, right? And so it's a huge opportunity for us to take that $50,000 and multiply it. And so that's one way you can help. You can just simply donate to get this store open so that it can be the long-term solution for this neighborhood. Because this is a neighborhood-run store, and we feel like if any store needs to be open during this time, it's Good Grocer. The second thing you can do to help is you can volunteer your time, and volunteers are what fuel Good Grocer in the everyday. Volunteers run every aspect of this store, and so we need over 500 of them to operate every aspect of this store. And so we're not necessarily, and never have been, looking for folks to do one-time volunteer projects. We're looking for ongoing volunteers to be a part of the community in the neighborhood so that we can be the long-term solution for this food crisis in Minneapolis. And what's amazing about this cause of food insecurity, this cause of a food shortage, right? And gathering a community around that is such an incredibly powerful thing. Our cause is clear. We need to help people access healthy foods, right? Who are in a crisis right now. But the community that emerges out of that group of 500 or 600 volunteers is also what we need. That in the midst of this city that has been torn apart by race and ethnic divides and social divides and socioeconomic divides, there needs to be a place where we can come together and get to know one another. That sometimes the reason that there is hatred that exists is because we don't necessarily know people. And so we consider ourselves a place where people can come together of all different ethnicities that have often been divided and build relationships with one another. And that volunteerism does that. And so not only can you donate your money, but you can volunteer your time in an ongoing way and build a relationship with someone who's a bit different than you. And I believe those relationships can change this community. And so, I know we've all been asking what you can do, and maybe a lot of you are doing things, but this is just one way I think you can help. And so to all of our community of supporters, I thank you for all of the amazing generosity and support you've provided us in this journey from Lake Street to Nicollet. And now I ask that you would help us to close the gap of this $200,000 to get this store open. You know, we started in a church basement, right? 500 square feet, and then we went to that Lake Street store, right? And that Lake Street store lasted 2 years, and then the third chapter is this Nicollet store, right? And all along the way, we've been focused on this cause of trying to help people access healthy foods. And so I think this is just another step in the journey, and I just don't believe in coincidences. And we were scheduled to open a few months from now, and it feels like there is no more important time for our mission to be lived out than now. And so we would invite you to come along on the journey with us and take a tour of this amazing property so we can finish it properly and get it open so that we can really do the good we were called to do. Thank you for all of your support.